What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Tide Talk. It's Sunday, October 6th, and we're back to talk RIFC's 3-1 home USL Championship victory over at Tampa Bay. So cozy up, Greg Bear. Let's dive into this one. That was pretty good synchronicity there, Ryan. Just a reminder, each episode is available on YouTube, and if you're watching now, please take a second to subscribe to our channel and click the like button on this video. Big thanks to everyone that subscribed. We got over 200 subscribers this week. Absolutely massive. Appreciate each and every one of you. You can also find us on all of your favorite podcast applications like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you listen on one of those, we'd really appreciate it if you took a minute to leave us a 5-star rating and a short review, as it helps more people find our podcast. If you're not already using the Club Collector app, don't bother. Zach will scrape you anyway. He's on an absolute tear. But click the link in this episode description. Get on that site. Go into the code Tide Talk, all one word, to get a free pack added to your collection. I'm your host, Matt, and I'm joined by my good friend Ryan, who is up in New Hampshire and missed this one live, but have an interesting, different take on things from the broadcast perspective. But Ryan, did you have a pretty nice little Sunday going to Home Depot, buy some wallpaper, maybe get some flooring, stuff like that?
Honestly, I bought a shop vac, and I am having a time of my life with it. So, yeah, I did have a nice little Sunday. It's always nice for Sunday, too, when RIFC win on Saturday. So.
Absolutely. Shop vac is a lot like Evans Takes. That just sucks up everything. So
it's a big sucks all the air out of the room, you know.
That's it. But looking at this one from the beginning, wanted to always shout out the Defiance and the tailgate. It was pretty rowdy. It was pretty raucous. And I think it was very evident when we got into the stadium how loud it actually was. I know there were a few new people and a couple of extras playing with La Banda, and it made it just even louder. The atmosphere was just electric and burn from the start. So just absolutely unbelievable. I was texting Ryan during this one saying, you know what, if we score, it's going to pop off, and it certainly did. But we'll get to that goal in a little bit. First, we'll start as usual with the starting 11. Koke, Vegas, and net. The back three we've been used to of Nodarse, Yao, and Stoneman. Holstad, Ibarra, Haravao, Turnbull, Fusan, Deco, Dequa, and Chigo, way out of it, and JJ Williams to round it out. So any big surprises on this, Ryan? I know we were kind of having the debate about whether or not we'd see Jack P start, and we didn't. We saw him on the bench, obviously, and struggling to kind of break into this 11 right now. Knowing Noah's appeal was what granted him play, but we'll talk more about that as he'll be unavailable for the next one. He was one that I think we all expected to see. Mm-hmm. But overall, I guess pretty par for the course, kind of what we'd hoped, and it kicked Clay back into the midfield.
Yeah, well, I think the big news that came out the day before the game was that Noah was not going to be suspended for this one because his appeal was, I guess, in too late for them to make a decision for this match. Mm-hmm. So that was really big that we could have Noah out there, because I think that was one of the two big question marks going into the game is how do we replace Noah, and then how do we replace Quizera? Luckily, we just moved Noah over to that left wing back position, and then we brought JJ into that front line, which I think is really one of our strongest starting 11s there as we do look into this, final push. So something we hopefully can see moving forward once Noah and Quizera is back, to kind of see this kind of core group of 12 or so really see it out.
Yeah, and it was pretty good from the start. I mean, we kind of saw that attacking sense, and I think the best thing we saw was that press, and just absolutely how suffocating that press was. Tampa had a hard time staying on the ball, and we were just really able to kind of put our mark early on in this one.
Yeah, I tweeted out during the game, I think this was our best start to a match in a really long time. The energy, the focus, I thought the team just looked really in sync too. Like sometimes you'll see one or two players pressing really hard and, it gets a little disjointed. I thought we were really good, and there were points just Tampa could not get out of their own half. And I was getting a little worried after like the 20-minute mark or so, because I was like, man, we are putting a lot of energy, a lot of effort into this. And I think we're really executing well, but we hadn't been able to capitalize on the dominance. So it was great to see Haravao kind of take care of that in this one.
Right. I think it was one that we were playing so well and really dominating it that it's kind of one of those like, well, we better get our goal soon because this could turn on its head fast if not. And that did happen, and it did happen as a result of the press in the 21st minute. Like you mentioned with Zachary Haravao, just an absolute hustle award for this goal, and that press ratcheted up a knot and put the Tide up 1-0. Let's take a look at it.
Yeah, just two teams have clinched, one team eliminated. 8 points separating 11th and 5th at the moment. It's going to be almost the playoff starting now for a lot of these teams. Can't afford to lose too many more games. Watch out.
Boy, and that ball is put in the back of the net by Zach Harivo. Disaster for Jordan Farr.
It's his birthday, don't you know? Harivo doesn't care.
So obviously, looking at it, you know, Harival gets the big props for this one with getting a goal, but Chico is what really forced that backwards pass to the keeper, pressing high on that left flank, and Harival just continued that pressure, that second wave, and was able to block the clearance and get the goal on that. So just overall great team pressing. Wasn't just Harival on that. Wanted to make sure Chico really got his props for pressing that high up the pitch as well.
No, and again, that's what we saw time and time and again in this half. I did think it was interesting that Harival was more the advanced of the three midfielders in this one, of Ibarra, Clay, and him. Usually he's more the deeper man, but there's some interesting stuff that's been called out about him kind of man marking a bit, and then obviously playing up front to energize and power that press. So yeah, I thought he was really fantastic, especially in that first half of bringing a lot of a controlled pressure, controlled energy to the team there.
Right, our guy Andrew says Harival's anticipation when the defender with the ball turned back was A+++. Just really, really good. You know, and the press came from everyone. Noah was pressing up high. Clay was pressing up high, and Clay was actually, you know, giving the press outlets to pass to. He would fill in from behind and give a forward gap for a pass to play into. And I would love to see his heat map from this one, because he was just absolutely everywhere. Ran his socks off. Told him that after the game. He's like, my hammies are a little tight after that one, I have to admit it. So it was funny hearing that from him. But overall, just the team press, the team fight was really something to be proud of and happy to see continue.
Absolutely.
So next up, first half, you know, kind of continued with more of the same for that one. It was, you know, we were pressing, weren't really generating many great chances off of it, but neither was Tampa. We were keeping them at bay. Field Tilt FC at its absolute finest.
I was loving life.
It was good. It was good stuff. First half stats were 42% possession for RIFC. And like we said, you know, it was because of that press. So we let Tampa have the ball. We pressed them high, won it back in good spots. So field tilt definitely occurring there. We outshot them 7-6, had 2 on target each, 1 big chance created each, and 134 passes at 79% accuracy for Rhode Island to 201 at 83 for Tampa. 6 fouls committed for us, 8 for them, 2 corners to 1. This was actually one, you know, we didn't have to get too much on the referee, although there was one point we'll have to talk about right before the halftime with the officiating decision that I've never seen before. But it wasn't like Sergey in the middle. But, you know, the half winds down, we're awarded a corner, referee blows his whistle for halftime. What the heck was going on? Did the broadcasters even mention anything about this, Ryan, or was it just like, hey, it's halftime?
No, they did. They were like, I've never seen that before. Yeah, I genuinely don't know what he was thinking. I don't like. I've been watching soccer for a very, very, very long time. I've been playing soccer for longer, and I have never felt that. I've never seen that. I've never been a witness to that in any capacity. So, it was one of those things. Someone was like, should they have hustled to take the corner? But again, it's something that has never happened before. So why would they do that? So yeah, just a really bizarre circumstance, especially, you know, we looked pretty dangerous on set pieces this game. So to kind of lose out on one was a bit unfortunate there.
Yeah, like you said, we looked good on set pieces. We had JJ had a good chance on a header on a near post run, and it looked like we were starting him back post, trying to get him free at the front post, and it was like concerted effort there as well. But as the second half we rolled into the second half, more of the same. The press softened a little bit, but things did change in the 69th minute when our guy Noah got on the board with an absolute great shot. Just bend it like Noah, I think was the club's tweet. So let's take a look at that, and then I'll let you wax poetically about this one.
Themselves with only 2 shots in this second half, past the halfway mark now.
JJ Williams, great flick. Fuson, 1v1. Fuson in service, and he actually puts it in the net. Fuson, a brilliant strike. Thought he was trying to send it across, and instead took care of the matter himself.
So Andrew says you can't tell from our broadcast, or from the broadcast, but from our seats, the very last bounce of the ball took a wicked spin to the left. So had some wild spin and absolutely checked up on. So really good. And then Evan says, "Hey, Ryan, that goal, Noah, you can fanboy about, not the police escort he had against Tulsa." Just ridiculous. But I do want to say, and this will make Evan upset as well, though, but JJ with the sick flick on there. And JJ's hold-up play was very, very good throughout. I know some people can't comprehend what that does in unlocking teams and defenses, but JJ was just winning aerial duels, throwing himself on it. We'll talk about him, a little bit later as well. But, flick that ball onto Noah. Noah cuts back and just curls an absolute beauty into the goal.
Yeah, I mean, he clearly has been practicing that. I mean, after each one, he's been tweeting and Instagramming like R1 circle. And for those non-FIFA PlayStation players, that's the finesse shot, which is like the nice bendy one. So like he said, he's practiced it 100 times and now it's really, really paying off. And yeah, I mean, he has just been pivotal to this run we've been on as of late. I mean, he has been chance creator in chief, especially, when Quizera was out. I think when they both were out, we were like, how the hell are we going to create chances at all? But Quizera has been right up there neck and neck in terms of chances created. And Noah, again, took like a step forward tonight and said, what, I'll be that person for this team. So again, you were saying he was pressing, he was playing out of position. Didn't matter. He just had a great game. One other person to shout out on that play, he doesn't do a ton, but great to see Duggan back in that back line. He was the first. Yeah, good throw. He's like one of the first kicks. But yeah, really happy to see him back. And maybe I don't know how much we're going to see him because, again, it's been a really stable 11 as of late. But yeah, again, great to have another resource on the team.
Sure. Let's go back to the videos too, though, as Rhode Island FC were caught sleeping just 2 minutes later after the restart after this goal. And Arteaga gets Tampa Bay on the board.
17 now in the last 8 games.
There's a good setup. Crossing over, toe poke, and Tampa Bay Rowdies right.
So we talk about Yao a lot in his positioning on this one. Obviously, the man was beat first, but Yao was nowhere near in space to recover for this one. He gets beat again a second time, and yeah, just a good finish. But for me, it was like, we got that second goal. It's later on. It was foot off the gas mentally, I guess, for this one. And it was just like Tampa hit that restart ready to go, and we were still kind of in celebration mode, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, back when I played, my high school coach, he was really big on the 2 minutes after you score, or he used to call a code red. And if you were on defense, the only thing you did was just clear. Don't even try to play it, just clear. Because there was a stat, I don't know if it was real or not, but that basically the times a team is most likely to concede is 2 minutes after they score. So that was an example of that. Maybe you take your foot off the glass, you're a little bit excited, a little bit lackluster. But what was really upsetting is I actually thought Yao had an amazing game.
At
that point, the first half, I was like, holy shit, like I'm an asshole. I keep calling for this guy to be the odd man out of this back line rotation when everyone's healthy. And he's just putting on the clinic. Like, he was probably one of the biggest reasons we were dominating the field position so much, because he was just mopping up every single ball that even tried to squirt over the halfway line. So yeah, it was tough, but I get that one-on-one defense there was really poor. And I think we've seen it a few times from him as of late. So hopefully he can clean that up. I know Kano in his post-match presser, which we'll look into after he did kind of call out, like, we do need to start getting more clean sheets. So really unfortunate that we did let them back into the game so quickly after we, got that most dangerous lead in soccer 2-0.
Absolutely. You mentioned Yao's performance. He got a 6.8 on the FOTMob algorithm. 27 of 32 accurate passes, 84%, 40 touches, 2 passes into the final third, 3 out of 6 accurate long balls. A very clean passing game for Yao compared to games past. 1 out of 3 tackles won. He had a block, 2 clearances, 2 head clearance, 10 defensive actions, 2 recoveries, and was only dribbled past once. That would be the occasion. 5 duels won, 5 duels lost. And 4 fouls committed. So put in a good shift, just beat. And, I think one of the guys kind of still feet stuck in the mud after the restart. But luckily, the 1-goal lead did not last for too long, as our good friend JJ Williams was able to get us back on the board again in the 85th minute in what was just another great effort goal. So let's take a look at that one.
Ball's taken away one more time. Fuson. JJ Williams. Williams in! 3-1 Rhode Island FC. JJ Williams with a dagger in the 85th minute.
dagger for sure. Stoneman, got to credit him with the high press there, and then Clay picks a pocket, picks out Noah, who slots through an absolutely wonderful ball to JJ, who slots it home. And Zach captained JJ in Club Collector, and as soon as he did that, I went like, JJ's gonna have a game on. Certainly enough, but just a really good team press situation and scenario that led to this goal. Like I said, Stoneman's press, Clay picks a pocket. Noah just puts an absolute beautiful pass to JJ, who slots it home like a confident, informed striker. Kind of not what we've seen from him of late, but just a very, very clinical finish and hopefully a sign of good things to come.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good things on this goal. Number one, the press, as you mentioned, like I think that was really indicative of what we saw. It always felt like there was an extra Rhode Island FC man to their man, like the entire match. And that was, I think there was 2 guys to our 5 that were like kind of available to get that ball. Unbelievable pass by Noah with his left foot. It almost looked like a magic trick. Like it kind of just like appears to JJ, but it was so like inch perfectly slotted to JJ's foot.
Like you watch the replay, you have a hard time following the ball. Like it's
can't tell. It was magic stuff by Noah. And then, like you said, an informed striker's finish by JJ. I thought he really stepped up in this one, especially when Chico went out so early in this one. And yeah, he was doing it all. He was doing his usual hold-up play. I think we saw him in the box a bit more, again, as he was more of like a recognized striker of the pairing. And I love the celebration, just a cocky, like, come on.
That and a flex,
Yeah. So, again, we've said it all season. You just really have to hope that this is the shot that JJ needed to go in and he can really start rolling. 3 games to go and then hopefully looking like the playoffs. What a time for him to get really hot.
Right, and I think it was important he stepped up, like you mentioned, with Chico going down. I texted you right away asking how bad it looked on the broadcast. You said not too bad. Looking like an apparent groin injury for
I will
Chico.
just say I did take a gummy before the game, so don't take my medical advice.
Damn it. We're hearing groin injury for Chico, so hopefully nothing too long.
Like a hip flexor.
Yeah, so hopefully nothing too long, nothing too bad, and we can get him back going pretty good. But those 2 firing, we would definitely be tough to beat in the road. Down the road in the playoffs. But you mentioned Stoneman pressing on that one, and Stoneman had one other really good defensive action on a very mismatched of a play with him and Koke kind of scrambling and him poking it away off the touchline. So let's take a look at that moment that the club deemed out the defensive action of the game.
Rhode Island got up 2-0, and to coin a phrase from your home country, it's gone all 6s and 7s since then.
It has. Just get that second goal in your mind. Okay, that's it. As you said, Neil, is that the one? Is that it?
So Koke comes out, bodies everywhere. Stoneman stays true and hammers it out of the way. Overall, pretty good defending on the night from all 3 of them. I think the goal after the restart was more about, I think, mental lapse of concentration than being out of position. Yao probably was out of position as well, but it wasn't that same, mistakes of switching off that we've seen. It was a little bit different, maybe equally as frustrating, but a pretty solid performance from the back line.
Yeah, I mean, just even looking at the second half stats, which I'm sure you're going to go through, like we allowed them 14 touches in the opposition box. We had 28. So like that was super dominant on our part. They had 5 shots. Only it looks like 3 of them were on target. But yeah, it just didn't seem like, I guess we blocked one. But all in all, like it just never felt like they were truly, truly back in this. There were a couple chances, but at the end of the day, I think this was a pretty dominant victory front to back from Rhode Island FC.
Oh, right on. Kevin says that dude went flying all on his own. FAO, good stuff. You kind of hit the second half. So final stats for this one, we only had 43% of the ball. So that just shows you how suffocating that press was. 13 shots to 11 in favor of RIFC, 6 on target to 5 in favor of RIFC, 3 big chances to 2, again in favor of RIFC, each team with 1 big chance missed. 270 passes at 78%, little low for us as far as our season average, to 382 at 83% for Tampa. 14 fouls committed for RFC, 18 to Tampa, and 5 corners to 3. So overall, just a really good, I would say, dominant performance. Tyler adds in outside of about 20 minutes in the second half, felt like we really bossed them, and I think that was, you can add in the 2 minutes after our goal there, but a much different look than the first time we played. When we first played Tampa, this was a team that was in really good form. They were really tough to beat. We had the only goal we had was off the Jackson Lee assist. That was a high bounce play through. And we got the goal. We were able to capitalize there, 1-1 at the half. But that 1-1 at the half, I think, was not at all indicative of how we were playing that one. So really good to see Rhode Island come out in a game that, you're close to this team on the table. If you're looking to still pursue and chase that home playoff match, you have to look at this as a must win. And, we did. We went out there, we did it. And Kevin says pretty well in the chat, I think it sums it up nicely. It was a rowdy win. Like I said, it was rowdy in Bern all night, and just a really good environment. Awesome time. So did that translate through on the broadcast, Ryan?
It sounded good. I did have to watch it with like the sound down because it was like a bunch of people. But the way I interpreted it, again, I wasn't there, and I'm so jealous of everyone who was. But it just felt like a very professional, like a very adult performance. We just seemed like we were going out there to handle business, and we did. Again,
it was a very professional performance.
Super professional. It just seemed like almost like the team aged like a couple years between the last time we played them to now, and it just looked like a much more experienced, a much better team. And the adults were on the pitch, the men were on the pitch. It was physical. We held our own. We did not shy away, and we took it to them. And that's what we're going to need to see again next 3 games and then into the playoffs, because that's the time where again the adults need to come in the room and take it to the other team.
Absolutely. Do we want to go slides next? Do we want to go socials next? I'll let you pick, my friend.
Go slides. Why not?
Let's do it. Slides, everybody. Slides.
I didn't announce it. This is new. So, folks, are the tides changing again? So last time we checked in on this, we were in the midst of the choppy seas phase. So this was from Indy through the Orange County match, which, as you can see by the amount of different colors on the left, was a tough time. We were barely scoring a goal a game. We were barely giving up a goal a game. We were barely averaging a point per match. So really, really rough time for the Tide. But as we're looking at the choppy seeds phase, we seem to have transitioned to potentially a new one. And it's currently called the question mark phase. And to be clear, if you are listening to the podcast, right now is a great time to pause that, jump on the YouTube, because a lot of visuals here. So as you can see here in the currently question mark phase, a lot of wins, a lot of green, which is beautiful. 2-1 against Tulsa, 3-1 against San Antonio. And then as we saw last night, 3-1 against the Rowdies. So with this question mark phase, so looking at the key stats here, we're averaging almost 3 goals a game again. We're only letting up 1. You'll be shocked to hear that a lot of times will lead to an average of 3 points per match. While I am calling this the question mark phase, I should also call this a small sample size phase, because this is only 3 matches, but we are going to look at it here. So
it's just a squall in the grand scheme of
just
storms.
A squall, but it's a nice squall, I'll tell you that much. So when we jump into this, so what has been going on these past couple matches? So I showed this chart last time in terms of our expected goals versus the actual goals that we were scoring. In the initial phase of the season, we were kind of underscoring our expected goals. Then all of a sudden over the summer, we got super hot. And that was that changing tides phase where like we were just undefeated, amazing from Detroit on. This choppy seas phase, we went really into underperforming our XG. Pretty brutal. But now, as we see, we're slightly back up and well above at some points. I think it was negative 0.28 and then 0.1, 1 and 1.15 or something like that. So we are back to scoring even more goals than we are expected to. So it's good to see the team actually finishing their chances. Next up, Fortress Bern. So for the longest time this season, we were asking, are they ever going to win at home? And that has changed so much. We are unbelievable at home. We actually haven't lost since the Detroit game still at home. So as you'll see here, this is a lot of numbers on this chart, but we at home, our XG4 is 1.67 compared to 1.31 away. Our XG against is 1.17 versus 1.52 away. We are scoring 1.5 per match, both places. We're conceding only 1 goal a match at home compared to 1.5 away. So again, we've been much better here. And then one big thing Kano talked about in his press conferences, we've kept 40% of our games as clean sheets at home, which again is absolutely massive here compared to only 13% on the road. So these are a lot of kind of clear indicators that we've actually become a huge road team here, home team here. Next up, winning the midfield. So Kano has made a slight tweak since the Orange County game where he has played Fuson as usually a striker, but he's been dropping into midfield, kind of into that more creative role. And he's played a trio of Ibarra, Harabout, and Clay Holstead.
And I love that trio. That trio makes me like very happy to see. It's got a lot of solidity in the back, and it's got a lot to provide support going forward.
Yeah, so when I say play the adults, this is kind of what it almost feels like right now. This is a physical midfield. It is a technically classy midfield, but it is one that is not afraid to do the dirty work. And
it's also very complementary of one another. They fit well together.
Yeah, so one of the big things we talked about last time was the Route 1 to JJ being closed off, and it felt like we kind of were a little bit disparate as a team. And I think playing, almost overloading and winning this midfield with an extra player in there has seemed to kind of clean up a lot of the broken links that we had. And as you said, when we talked about this match, like Clay, he just allowed, by having these extra midfielders, Clay is then more that exclamation point, winning his duels, winning his tackles, and then getting away. So I really think that this
Captain Amazing knows ball.
Captain Amazing said the midfield trio would have green links in Football Manager, and he is absolutely correct. Yeah, this is definitely a trio there, plus Noah, who's been not afraid to do the dirty work himself, but has been a chance creation and assist machine. He's currently leading the league in assists for the season and in the running for, I think it's called the Golden Creator Award or something like that. So
they could do better than that.
They really should and could do better. Let's get a sponsor in there. Maybe, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I think this this quartet has been truly pivotal here. So what I've decided to call this phase after looking at it is really the home playoff push phase. So we currently have
could have done better there too.
Was that?
Could have done better there.
This is where I started to panic on the slides, where some of the screenshots get a little rough. But yeah, so as you'll see here, we have 3 matches already played in this phase, all wins, and then we have Loudoun, Charleston, and Miami to close the season. So we're gonna play not a little game, but we're gonna chat a little bit about this. So the current table as it stands. So Louisville and Charleston, they have clinched. Then we have Detroit, Tampa, Rhode Island, Indy, Birmingham, Loudoun as the 3 through 8, with North Carolina, Pittsburgh, Hartford, and Miami on the outside looking in. You'll be surprised to hear Miami, who I didn't have to change the amount of points they've had since the last time I made this, are eliminated from the playoffs on that 11 points there. So this is interesting. So when I started looking at this, it seems as though there's really a 4-team race for these top 4 playoff spots. So Detroit City, they have 49 points with 3 matches to go. Tampa Bay, 46 points with 3 matches to go. Rhode Island FC, 46 points with 3 matches to go. Just to be clear, I checked with Timmy Scalafini's blog. Shout out to Timmy Scalafini. That the reason we don't have the tiebreaker with Tampa Bay is it's currently on goal differential. I think they have 3 extra goals than us. So that could be also another thing to think about with our upcoming matches and theirs. And then Indy is on 44 points, but they do have a game in hand with 4 matches to go. So, yeah, with this being said, I do think there's some interesting matches here. So, obviously, a couple to call out. Indy does have Hartford. I don't know why I didn't add that. You are correct. Thank you, Andrew Quadros. So, missed one there. So, Tampa does have 4 games to go. Missed that one. But a couple key ones here. Obviously, Detroit City versus Indy will be big for this one. Miami weirdly has a role to play here if they do want to get one. They're playing both Detroit City as well as Rhode Island FC. But I think some key matches for Rhode Island FC's prediction here position is Louisville. I think Louisville needs to take care of business at Tampa Bay, or Tampa Bay at Louisville. I think we need Louisville to win there. But from here, it really seems as though if Rhode Island can take about 7 points from these last couple, they will be in a pretty okay shot at this. But Matt, I don't know, how are you seeing the table here?
Yeah, I agree. 7, I think we could see 4th if we're able to take 7 there. North Carolina and Tampa is another intriguing one there. Indy kind of comes in spurts, and full pun on that one. But they show up, then they back away. So Indy's an interesting one. I look at that Indy Tampa Bay game. I believe it's the last game of the season for both teams as well, as a pretty pivotal one, and seeing how that shapes out. More so for Tampa, it's gonna suck because we're still gonna have to get a result versus Miami, and Miami's got nothing to lose, nothing to play for. So that one always screams trap for me. You know what I mean? But
it screams trap. But to me, that needs to be not only 3 points, but it needs to be a goal fest. Because the tiebreaker now with Tampa is goal differential, we need to just pump goal differential that game. I do think these are I think Loudoun and Miami, I always had them as must wins, but I think they're very much must wins.
Right.
I think Charleston's a must result if we do want to try to nip that
Mhm.
home playoff match.
I look at Detroit, and I think they win out based on their schedule. I think
They're also
very,
just playing really, really well.
they're very tough at home. So you got the 2 home games, and San Antonio doesn't offer much as far as resistance, in my opinion. So I look at them as, I think they're going to secure the 3 absolutely no problem. North Carolina and Indy versus Tampa are very huge games. I would hope, and I very much believe Louisville will take care of business. I look at us, and I know Loudoun's going to be down a player on suspension. If it's 7 points, I think could be enough to get us past Tampa. I think at best, Tampa maybe wins 1 out of those 3. Yeah, and I don't know which one it is, but I could see them losing 2 out of those 3 and see us leapfrogging. Indy's got a bit of a gauntlet too, with Detroit, with Tampa. Birmingham's a frustrating team to kind of predict. They just lost again. I think you've said before we came on air, it was 22 total shots and like 3 on target. So like
something crazy, yeah.
Like they're another hit and miss team, just like Indy, just like North Carolina even. So I think any one of those teams can really kind of cause trouble with any one of these 4, and they all kind of play each other. So it's going to be a whirlwind to see what it looks like going down. And as Matt Hand says in the chat, got to address the elephant in the room. No Noah next game, so his suspension is upheld, and no Quizera probably until Miami. And I know a couple of people were talking in the parking lot about how the club can say no for Quizera's Rwanda call up, but you don't want to do that to the player.
No,
especially
kind of address that in the post. Yeah, no way.
Like you want to keep the player happy. You want to keep him here. He's been a pivotal key to our success this season. So I think you want to bring him back, keep him happy, and Evan's totally right in the chat on this one. Looks at Jack P. Well, we need you to step up. I think Jack P is going to have to step up in those 2, their absence particularly. I think, unfortunately, we're going to see Clay at wingback too during all of this, and I hate saying that, but I think if anything, it's the more secure route to trying to get some points in these games. Charleston is the interesting one, and that's where I'm kind of getting caught up as far as our prediction, Ryan. Just what they'll have to potentially play for, how many more goals they want Markanich to get. So, I look at it.
Oh, guys, he doesn't need any more. Let's
I know.
pack it away. He's going to Spain. It's fine.
I look at it as we should get 6, but I think a result in Charleston could leapfrog Tampa.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, if the Loudoun match and the Louisville match for Tampa go the way that we would hope and like, you have to think that Rhode Island FC will be as up for that Charleston game as possible. And quite frankly, Charleston might not have much to play for at that point. They will most likely be solidly second place, potentially resting people. So who knows? At the end of the day, though, it's on the team to perform. It's on the team. They control their own. They don't fully control their own destiny, to be clear, but they can only play each match at a time and try to get their results. So it seems like they're taking this
guys to step up,
Exactly. And it seems like they're taking this as a very, very professionally, like I said. And I think one thing too, the nice thing, this kind of new formation we've developed with this extra midfielder, more or less, might actually benefit Jack P, because they can do a lot more of the dirty work, because we have seen him get out physical a bit, and maybe we can see Jack P a little bit more unlocked like we saw him earlier in the season, and really back to that chance creation machine he can be.
Absolutely.
Cool. So that was that, folks. So just keep an eye out. These next 4 weeks are going to be wild. There's a lot of midweek games here for the catch-up ones, and again, I'm just very, very excited to see where this goes.
Right. So we'll take a turn and we'll look at the socials from all of your comments post-match on this one, and then we'll get to Kano's post-match comments after that. So we'll start in the Defiance 1636 Discord from the Tide Talk channel. Our good friend Leo O, who always writes good stuff. Good was JJ back on the score sheet. Better midfield trio helping force most of Tampa's forward movement outside and away from their more creative and dangerous offensive pieces. Leo knows ball. Best early press and transition play allowed possession-based play to ice the game for the last 15 minutes. And his RIFC in 3 was Tides Far with 2 R's better. Absolutely love it. Taking a shot at Mr. Far in net there, even on his birthday. He added a talking point. Why did Noah switch to the right wing in the second half? Felt like it kind of overloaded the right, but also seemed to end up helping stifle Tampa's offensive bites. We'll throw that one to you, Ryan.
Yeah, it's a good question. There must have been something that the team saw in terms of a matchup that they could exploit. Noah, while I think he had a really good game. I think he was better in that second half when he was off the right there. I mean, he is right-footed, so it might be a little bit easier for him to kind of dictate play out there. But yeah, it clearly had to be some kind of mismatch to get him more involved in the game. But yeah, I thought Noah was really great. We did know that Tampa, they had a lot of threat down the left-hand side. So maybe they're saying, hey, let's let Noah be a little free, have a little less defensive duty,
Sure.
and unlock him there. So
Matt Hands replied to that one in the chat. He torched them from the right, especially late in the game. He had acres of space. To Leo replied, yeah, it seemed super awkward when he first made his way over. Everybody looked confused except Noah. Watching Frank's reaction especially is what made me laugh. Our guy Nate Ski had for his good the atmosphere, and again cannot speak to how good that atmosphere was inside Bern. Defiance, La Banda,
I'll get over
all night long. The better was the goals. The best was 2 down, 3 to go. Just win, baby, magic number. Pawtucket J had his good. JJ scoring again. Better, Noah shining again. Best, coach sticking up for his team, and we'll get to that in a little bit. And his RIFC in 3 was the team chemistry. And like you mentioned, the adults in the midfield, we're seeing it click. We're seeing it absolutely go on. So really, really good there. We had Andrew Quadros, good. JJ's strikers finish, better. Noah's blistering form, best, playoffs within reach. RIFC in 3, life is good. So thank you to everyone on the Discord who wrote on. We'll switch over to Twitter. We had Kevin with good. Defiance 1636 creating a difficult environment to play in for Tampa. Better, winning second balls and keeping possession after turnovers. Best, JJ Williams had his best game of the season. Do you think that was his best game, Ryan?
It's hard. It's obviously easier to say because he did score. But I think he's had some games where it's just like his physical dominance was just on like full display. I think it's definitely a candidate. I don't want to commit fully. I'd have to look more, but he was outstanding last night.
Evan had good. A first half finally worth talking about. Better, not allowing Tampa Bay to get comfortable and allowing to set up. Best, JJ Williams. Wow, Evan's coming full circle on this one. Last night was the moment when we finally saw the JJ Williams we thought we were signing from Tampa Bay. It's taken an entire year to see, but ... You can tune into the Call Corner tomorrow night at 9 p.m. to hear the rest of Evan's takes as he battles Kevin and Irvin and everyone else who steps into the chat and gets all those takes out. Our good friend Dookie Main on Twitter, good. The pressing structure straight from kickoff was suffocating. Better, the fluidity of positions, especially with strikers, was beautiful. Best, I think the best team performance all season. Everyone came to play. JJ looked unstoppable. So many selfless plays to back each other up. Let's take a look at his best there. The best team performance all season. I think I got to agree with that. I think from the pressing perspective, we did have the one mental lapse that led to a goal, but the press was just relentless. The finishing, clinical. I think I'm gonna agree with Dookie May, and I'll say this was our best overall team performance.
I don't think it's off. I don't want to do like, I'm worried about recency bias because we have had a lot of really, really, really good performances. Like the Hartford match, we were outstanding at home. I mean, the Louisville match was bizarre but unbelievable. We're gonna have to do like an end of season recap because I know there's definitely some we're forgetting here. But this is definitely way up there because this was a game that I don't think many people predicted as a win. I went like against all of my like anything I could ever think of to be like, yeah, it's gonna be a win, and I didn't feel good about it. But it was a big opponent. It was a big, like you said, it was a playoff atmosphere there. It was a 6-pointer, and the team did amazing. So I don't want to turn it down tonight.
Awesome. Evan's all upset in the chat because I didn't read the second part of his tweet. It's not because I was trying to leave it out. It's because you have to click extra buttons to do that. But his second part was when Deco went down with a groin injury early on, we needed JJ to step up and get a win. He did that. When we needed him to be a force in the middle, he did that. when we needed to put the match away late, he did that. He was my man of the match. So good to see Evan coming along on JJ. Mike Moniz on Twitter said, good, Defiance making home games miserable for opposing teams and the team feeding off that energy. You can feel it. You can see it. The team certainly feeds off that energy all throughout. Better, JJ with a goal and assist and getting into form before the playoffs. Best, Tico's after party knowing he coughed up the ball for the third goal.
How do you think that
RIFC
after
in
party
3.
was?
It's party time. I tried to swing by the touch lounge, but I didn't see anyone. I just think it's weird. It sounds like a Diddy party. Touch lounge to me. It's just awkward. I don't get it. But it is what it is there. We'll take a look to Facebook in our Rhode Island FC Nation group. A couple of the takes that we had for RIFC in 3. We had Jason Demers, Noah's on fire, Chris Januario, home playoff wanted, and Don Lindbergh, big time performance. We also had Pauline Charleston, congratulations RFC, and Don Lindbergh, congratulations lads, big win. It was certainly a big win, Ryan. Coming back to the takes, and we heard it from people kind of in their 3 words and their just kind of reviews of the match of, they really liked what coach had to say post-match and sticking up for his players. And I think none better came from his first answer and sticking up for Noah and talking a little bit about that suspension that we did learn via this interview has been upheld.
I'll talk about tonight's win in a second. I want to talk about last game, and I want to talk about the experience of last game. We have Noah Fusan is suspended for next game. We appealed. We got the appeal in time, and it wasn't processed in time, so he's available to play tonight. Luckily, he was, because he was fantastic. But the whole process was very not enjoyable, if I'm being honest. We encourage our players to be honest and do the right thing. And if you watch the clip back, the first yellow card that Noah got, he didn't make contact with the guy. He dove. The second situation, he got kicked on the kickoff, doing something that we asked him to do, which is a team tactical principle of block somebody on the kickoff to not let the target to go down and win the header. He got kicked, and then he got headbutted. Normal reaction when somebody's trying to headbutt you, you protect yourself. He threw his arm up, got a second yellow and a red card. So the player that was being honest got punished. The player that was being dishonest did not get suspended. And we got that appeal in, but apparently it wasn't in time. Why does it take us having to complain about a situation where a player is doing a violent action for the player to be suspended? I don't understand. The officials' performance, in my opinion, was really poor. We were without Joe Jaya today because he got accumulation of yellow cards. It's 3-1. It's the 46th minute. He's not wasting time. The referee should know that he's on that and don't send him off. So we're robbed of our 2 most creative players for games because of not good decisions. And to top it off, I turn on the biggest game in our country, Columbus versus Miami, and the referee's the 4th official. So he got a promotion. To me, it's unacceptable. But sorry, I had to get that off my chest. I'm really proud of them, what they did tonight.
So there was a lot of love for Kano post-match and after this interview in the Defiance Discord, just kind of in talking, with everyone. Kano is the man is getting a lot of comments on here as well. And like Andrew says, no doubt he's getting fined. He's 100% getting fined for this one. And I hope the club backs him and pays that fine for him because every word he said is 100% true. And you got to figure, too, that that's a message to his guys rolling into the postseason of, I will back you. I will stand up for you. What's right is right. And I'm a firm believer of that. And, he did that. And it's going to cost him. But, he spoke his mind and 100% spot on through all of it. I love the Sergey call out at the end with getting promotion. I love how he talks about the tactical principles and how we do it every play, every game on a kickoff. And, it's just that ref had a really rough game, so much that he has a club collector card. This guy, Sergey, which is an absolutely well done job by Craig. But this is gold from Kano. I think anyone who might have even been anywhere near on the fence on Kano at all this season, this should be enough to shift you over. And like Captain Amazing says, talk your shit, Kano, and call it out, call out the injustices. He called out the process too, which I love. So this league has a lot of potential in my opinion. Yep. But if we're going to see decisions like Sergey and shit he was doing on the pitch be upheld, in kind of an appeal process that is very time consuming and, I guess unenjoyable is always going to be the quote on those. But, with specific deadlines and stuff like that, call out the league, make the league do due diligence and get better, because this league, like I said, has a lot of potential, but it's got to get better than what we've seen with the officiating. And officiating's always been a problem in this country, but we've seen some really shit officiating this season.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was so spot on, and it's almost like, not that I don't want to give Kano credit, but like it was such an obviously terrible performance, and I'm really happy that he came out and said this. I mean, I think Kano has multiple moments this season that show you why he is the person to lead this team, both tactically and coaching wise, but also a lot of the off the pitch stuff. He seems to really understand the connection with both the fans and kind of being one of the figureheads for this brand new club. And yeah, I mean, we talked plenty about that ref last match, but it was truly just a disgusting performance. It's one that I just think there's just so much injustice in it, and it's just not doing the actual job of what the ref is supposed to do. So if you want to hear our thoughts on that, go check out the last episode. I did like a minute and a half of, I don't even know if it made sense, but yeah, it is great to hear Kano come out and call it out. And it does, and he did bring to light too, like, hey, this is how it's also going to impact us. These shitty decisions impact us this way. I also can't even imagine the stupid fucking paperwork that you have to fill out for this appeal. It has to be so dumb. Like, do you think they made them fax it?
Oh, probably.
They probably made them fax it.
Or snail mail.
Oh, just so stupid. It's probably like the dumbest form of like, what went wrong on the play? And like, it's like, here's the video evidence, but you can't even attach it because it's a fucking fax. So I'm sure it's an absolute mess of a process. But quick, I mean, I tweeted this before. I tweeted this and I thought I bullied the USL into rescinding the suspension, but come to find out it wasn't. I thought I did. But quite frankly, I do think this is a really bad look for the league, because if you can't, I think, and honestly, this is even just like league or ref. This is like big picture life stuff. If you make a mistake and you can't, if there's no repercussions, or you can't just like admit to a mistake in life, like there's that removes any sort of honesty that could be in place and any sort of justice that could be in place. So when in this situation, the people who are admitting or who are putting the justice in place, like the refs, and they can't like come out and say, "Oops, we got that one wrong." How are we supposed to sit here and say that we like think that you'll do the right thing moving forward if you clearly didn't like man up and learn your lesson on this one? So I just genuinely, it's just really disappointing that the league decided to not rescind it, because those were two like very, very clear and obvious errors that led to 2 yellow cards in a game and again, like the point of having the 2 cautions and a red card is to get someone who's off the pitch, who's clearly like impacting the game in a severely negative way, endangering other players, like severely breaking the laws of the game. And Noah was doing none of that in this game. So yeah, for him to have such an impact on the team, both in that game and on the season, is just unforgivable. And again, the league to then back that decision is even worse. So
it's absolutely asinine.
So to like you said, Matt, for the league to grow and the league to be taken as seriously as it should be, and hopefully will be in the future, these are the types of things you have to clean up. And again, having accountability to your decisions and not being afraid to say, yeah, we screwed up. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It actually, I would applaud you wholeheartedly if you did that. Both, even if it like hurt RIFC, it is a better thing for the league. So, again, shout out to Kano. I love him for however much that's going to cost him, whatever tab they run him there. But good for Kano.
Absolutely. I think it's, I think everything you said was really well put, and totally agree with you. The league has to learn from its mistakes and get better. And to back shit decisions like that. Just absolutely
guys, I didn't
sucks.
take a gummy before the show. This is last
Before the game. But I love how that popped off in the chat. Always good to see. But it's just it's got to get better. I love seeing how dejected he was too while he was talking about it, because
Yes.
damn well behind the scenes he was fired up as fuck talking about it. So
Yeah, they made him fax. I'd be dejected as well.
right. We got it's the stupid paperwork for even a youth and competitive coach. It's honestly horrible. And then on top of that, wait for an answer is even worse, not including fines and everything else. It just sucks. So, it does. It absolutely sucks. But we got all 3 points. We were able to have Noah on the pitch. We're going to see a slightly weakened Loudon side on Sunday. It's a 4:00 start on Sunday. It's looking like a beautiful day as far as the weather is concerned. So it should be another absolute raucous affair at Burn. Fortress Burn, if you will be rocking, and hopefully we can get all 3 points versus Loudon. Stay tuned this week, midweek. We'll try to get our friends from the Endline podcast back on to do a preview, see how their matches have gone since last time we played. I know we played kind of in close connection in a quick, cluster, because this league doesn't take scheduling seriously either, apparently. But always good to talk 3 points, always good to talk a big win. But any final thoughts you want to share before we head off this one, Ryan?
No, I'm just super excited what I'm seeing from this team, especially into crunch time. Again, this kind of like the adults taking this thing by the scruff of the neck, and bringing us over the finish line. I just can't praise this team enough for what they've been putting in, especially after we did talk. Hey, they lost 2 in a row finally. Does that make them not a good team? And they clearly took some lessons from there and turned it around. So hopefully they can keep it rolling. And just so excited for what we're seeing on the pitch right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, really good seeing that performance. Really good seeing the environment grow too. So hopefully it can continue. And be on the lookout for the rest of the Tide Talk blogs tomorrow. We got Timmy's player ratings, Matt's post-match beacon, and the Call Hog Corner should be a fiery one based on some comments that we've read here in the chat tonight. But thank you to everyone who tuned in. That'll about wrap things up for this one. Remember, Tide Talk is more than just a podcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for daily social media content. Click that link in this episode description. Follow all of our accounts. I've been your host, Matt, for my good friend Ryan. Thanks again for joining. We'll see you next time. And as always, up the Tide.
Up the Tide.